The boardroom went quiet after the laughter faded. Not the comfortable kind of silence, but the heavy kind, the kind that makes people suddenly interested in their phones, their watches, the grain of the wooden table. The CEO leaned back in his chair, still smirking, fingers steepled like a man who believed the world had already proven him right. Across from him stood the pilot, calm, unreadable, hands folded behind his back. No raised voice. No protest. Just stillness. That unsettled the CEO more than anger ever could have, though he didn't realize it yet. "You heard me," the CEO said, tilting his head. "Fly this jet. Then we'll talk." He gestured casually toward the window, where the company's newest acquisition sat on the tarmac like a polished trophy, sleek, expensive, and untouchable to anyone who hadn't earned the right. To him, this was a joke with an audience. To the others, it was humiliation served cold. The pilot nodded once. Just once. Understood. That was it. No argument. No explanation. No resume pulled out, no list of accomplishments thrown on the table like armor. He turned and walked out of the room, footsteps steady, echoing down the hallway. The CEO watched him go, amusement curling at the corners of his mouth. "This should be entertaining," he muttered. What the CEO didn't know, what none of them knew, was that the pilot's calm wasn't submission. It was control. The kind learned when panic gets people killed. Outside, the air was sharp with jet fuel and morning heat. Ground crew paused as the pilot approached, their eyes following him with curiosity. He didn't wear arrogance like most men around expensive machines. His uniform was neat but unadorned, his movements precise, almost restrained. He climbed the stairs into the cockpit without ceremony, running his hand briefly along the fuselage, not with reverence, but familiarity. Inside the glass-walled observation deck, the CEO and board members gathered, coffee cups in hand, waiting for the show. 10 minutes, one executive whispered. That's how long before he embarrasses himself. The engines whined to life. The sound cut through the chatter, low and confident. The CEO straightened slightly. He told himself it meant nothing, any trained pilot could start an engine. Still, his eyes stayed glued to the aircraft now. Taxi clearance was requested. Granted. The jet rolled forward smoothly, no jerks, no hesitation. The pilot's voice over the radio was calm, professional, carrying a weight that didn't beg for approval. Something shifted in the room. "He's steady," someone said quietly. The CEO waved it off. "Wait until takeoff." The jet aligned with the runway. Wind brushed across the tarmac. The pilot's hands rested on the controls like they belonged there, like they always had. For a brief moment, as the tower cleared him, his eyes closed. Not in prayer. In memory. Then the throttle pushed forward. Acceleration pressed bodies back into seats. The jet surged, faster than expected, smoother than anticipated. The nose lifted with surgical precision, and suddenly the ground fell away. The aircraft climbed, not rushed, not strained, confident. Clean. In the observation deck, no one laughed now. The CEO's smile thinned. "He's good," he admitted, almost annoyed by the words leaving his mouth. Good wasn't the right word. The climb rate was optimal. The angle perfect. The pilot adjusted with instinct, not calculation. This wasn't someone following a checklist. This was someone who knew the sky. As the jet banked gently, sunlight flashing across its wings, a flicker of recognition sparked in the CEO's mind. A memory he hadn't visited in years, of another jet, another runway, another man who'd looked just like this one, quiet, composed, untouchable. He shook his head, annoyed. Coincidence. Then the pilot requested permission for a demonstration maneuver. The room stiffened. A demonstration, the CEO snapped. Who does he think he? Before he could finish, the tower approved. What followed wasn't reckless. It was masterful. The jet executed a controlled ascent, rolling just enough to display balance, power, restraint. Every movement was deliberate, as if the pilot were telling a story with the aircraft, one only a few people in the world could read. Airspeed held steady. Altitude gained precisely. No wasted motion. Silence gripped the deck. The CEO's pulse ticked faster. His confidence, once loud and effortless, now felt thin. He leaned closer to the glass, eyes narrowing, trying to see the pilot's face through distance and reflection. "Where did you say this guy came from?" he asked. No one answered. Because at that exact moment, the pilot's voice came through the speakers again, clear, unmistakable, and it triggered something buried deep in the CEO's past. A voice he had heard before. In another life. Another failure. One he had spent millions trying to erase. The jet climbed higher. And with every second in the air, the CEO's certainty fell further toward the ground. If you're feeling that tension build, good. Because this is just the beginning. In Chapter 2, one takeoff will rip open a past the CEO thought was dead, and prove that power means nothing when the sky remembers your name. The jet leveled off above the clouds, sunlight flooding the cockpit like a quiet witness. The pilot adjusted his instruments with unhurried confidence, eyes steady, breathing slow. For him, this altitude wasn't escape, it was clarity. Below him was a world that had once taken everything. Above him was only truth. He switched frequencies, his voice calm, professional, yet carrying a gravity that reached far beyond the radio. Back in the observation deck, no one spoke. Coffee sat untouched. Phones forgotten. The CEO's fingers tightened around the glass railing as the aircraft held its course with unsettling perfection. This wasn't luck. This wasn't training alone. This was memory in motion. "Bring him back," the CEO said suddenly. "That's enough." The tower relayed the instruction. A pause. Then the pilot's voice returned, not defiant, not apologetic.